Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas, brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. Double game week 32 is just finished, and we're straight into another double game week. Pras, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Last week in Delhi, so I've got a couple of days left. So apologies for those who've been putting up with my, late or videos, and we missed last week as well, right?
Yes.
So apologies for that. We will be back fully from next week. But even today, we're good. None of us played a chip, but we survived, right? It was not a bad game week. How was it? How was yours?
You know what? It was nearly actually a very good game week, considering, like you said, both of us didn't use a chip. I scored 77 points. What really hurt was the Ezra penalty miss. That's
Oh
how it's
man.
fine margins. Yeah, can you imagine? I think that's a swing of like, I don't know, another 8 points or something. Would have been
And then,
huge.
firstly, would have been like really delighted that he was taking the pen. And then,
Yes.
of course, the fact that he missed it. But I was like, as a Mateta owner, I was like, what the hell? I bought Mateta because he's on pens and he's been very disappointing as well. But I had Sar, and I feel very lucky that Sar ended up outscoring Eze.
It is incredible. Honestly, you know what? It sums up this season for me. But overall, like you said, not using a chip and to get away with 77 points. And I think you scored similar.
I had 77 as well. But it sounds like we didn't have the same team, or we had, obviously a lot of teams are similar at this point. But even for me, like Munoz and Mateta were quite disappointing. But then, at the end of the day, it was not too bad. I hadn't triple captained. I didn't play my bench boost. A lot of people I see have higher scores, but have either triple captained or played their bench boost. So this is the week, I suppose, that you catch up on those who played their bench boost in 32.
I mean, that's what you'd like to think. And I agree with you. When I look at through my mini leagues, it's either the extra, say, Eddie Howe assistant manager points or the 11 points extra from the triple captain of what's his name, Isaac. So it's not too bad. And we could count ourselves maybe lucky, Press, because for Newcastle to score that many goals and for Isaac to only get one in the 2 games is another thing
Zero
that
bonus,
sums up
man.
FPL.
Over 2 games. Zero bonus. It's incredible.
It is very incredible. I mean, very impressive performances by Newcastle. And they're going to come up as we actually, perfect segue, as we go into our teams, because there's a lot to discuss. So I'm going to run you through my team. Okay. First and foremost, I've got free transfers. I've got 0.9 in the bank, which is actually a good place to be in. So currently I'm set up, and I'll explain to you my potential chip strategy as well. But for now, David Raya in goal, Munoz, Gabriel, who's obviously red flag. I just didn't move him out yet. Vardiol is the back three. Then I've got Eza, Rogers, Mohamed Salah, and Palmer. And up free, I've got Mateta, Isaac, Marmoush, which is the pretty template up free. On the bench, I mean, the bench is relevant this week as we're going to be discussing bench boost. On the bench, I've got Areola, Murphy, Livramento, and Milenkovic. Okay, so it's a decent squad with 3 transfers to attack it. And I'm going to tell you the players I'm thinking about bringing in. But before I do that, what do you think of the squad, the setup? Pretty template, isn't it?
I mean, but your transfers ahead of people because you've got Rogers in place already. Now so we're going to talk about Saka. We will talk about Villa guys because those are Arsenal and Villa are the 2 teams that people are looking to basically bring in, especially the ones that are free hitting next week. Because if you're not free hitting next week, then these guys are also blanking next week. So then it's a whole different discussion, and we'll spend time on that. But look, I think 3 transfers to fix Palmer, Gabriel, and one of your Newcastle guys, I think it feels fine.
I think so as well. And I'll tell you, so I'll start from the top. So first of all, Gabriel was very unfortunate. That's hurt us in 1 transfer, because the reason I say that is I'm not going to do something very exciting there. My first transfer is Gabriel to Saliba. I was thinking of Kivior, but I don't think I need the money. And if there's no money situation, why don't I just go for, albeit he made a very bad mistake against Real Madrid. I don't know if you saw, to let them concede. Saliba made a very bad.
But Saliba's not going to lose. But Kivior has been solid, yeah? I mean,
I feel very good.
Because Gabriel is out for the season, I think Kivior is pretty much as nailed as Saliba. Like, I don't think there's a difference.
I agree. So then if that is the case, well, is there any data or anything? I'm trying to think off my head. I haven't seen enough of Kivior to, like, say, for example, how good he is at attacking set pieces. Saliba's normally not too bad. Similar. He chips in with a couple of goals. They're similar, yeah? That's what I was thinking. Gabriel's the standout. We know he's the best at attacking the ball, and he's out. So, I mean, I could think about that if I think there's potential to use that extra money somewhere else. But for now, that move there is earmarked for Saliba to come in. So that gives me my double Arsenal defense for the double game week 33. It'd be Raya and Saliba. Happy about that.
Yep.
I don't think I was considering, there's a possibility I could go somewhere like Konsa. It's not very exciting. And their double, I don't think is as good for defensive assets as Arsenal. I think Arsenal's got the best double. I think we can all agree there. Arsenal has the best double. So that would be the first transfer. Second transfer, I was actually thinking about Palmer. Now, this spot is maybe the more exciting spot, and it's a lot to unpick here. That is because I was thinking of either Saka or Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
Now, me personally, Saka, we watched him yesterday. Well, maybe not no one else has forgot, but I've forgotten how important and how good he is to this Arsenal team. He's just lifted everyone else up. And I prefer his doubles, like I just said, but I'm not sure about his minutes. And it does look like to me Arteta has conceded the Premier League. Judging by his teams he's put out recently, before the last 2 games, I would say, it looks like he has conceded the Premier League and he's fully committing for Champions League. And I don't blame them. They're in the semi-finals. Having said that, trying to judge the minutes of Saka is my biggest worry. And the same with KDB, which we'll get to. What do you think his minutes are going to be? Because if I bring him in, it'll be with potential to maybe even captain, which we'll talk about a bit more later on the captaincy. But Saka's the option at the moment. I think he's just a little bit of a favourite ahead of Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, I love their double. I love his fixture. I love what he done, the last game week, hence why it's fresh on my mind. But I have to bear in mind that this guy's not played 2 or 3 games in a row for such a long time. And am I really am I getting carried away with that move there? Is that just because he done something the last game week? And then his interview helped me as well, talking about I've not been injury-free for a long time, and I'm actually injury-free. So that's where I'm stuck. So that one there, Pras, I'm not really locked in. I'd love to hear what your opinion is from one of those 2.
I don't have a strong one. Like, I think, of course, if minutes are the same, then Saka is better. But you could make an argument that Saka probably misses Ipswich, which is the next one. Saka misses Bournemouth, which is in between the PSG games. So, and Saka doesn't have another possible double game week. Like De Bruyne could have a double game week 36 as well. So for all those reasons, I think if minutes were the same, I like Saka. And I still think I will prefer Saka. Because you don't know, right? I mean, maybe Saka is now ready and Saka plays both. Like, we are guessing, but maybe he's had now enough time to integrate back into the team and it's not like he's going to miss. Now, he will not play 90 minutes, but Saka playing 60, 70, 80 minutes is fine. Like, De Bruyne's not going to play 90 minutes either. He's hit a few games where he's played over 80 minutes. But look, there are things happening there as well. Foden could come back now. Foden has been out of form as well, so you never know. But Savinho, Doku, Haaland's seen pictured, not in training, but at least running around. So he could be back by the time double comes. I'm skeptical. Like, I think if you were to say, I can still triple up on Arsenal. So let's say if you went Gabriel to Saliba, Livramento to Kiwior, so that you have triple Arsenal defense, and then you went Palmer to KDB. I don't mind it. But if you're sacrificing a third Arsenal to get to De Bruyne, then that's not as great. So that's where I am. So you need to basically debate: can you do Gabriel to Saliba, Livramento to Ruben Diaz, and Palmer to Saka? Maybe that's a move you can think about. Or you do the other one where you get basically the Kevin De Bruyne type. Or you can even think of getting Kevin De Bruyne for Palmer, and for Jacob Murphy, you could get Merino.
Exactly that. Or that's another possibility as well. I mean, I'm not sure how keen. He has done really well. Even that pass in the Champions League was very impressive for the soccer goal. He's impressed me. He's done better than I expected. But
he was doing all right.
He has. He's been very good. The only thing is, like, motivation. We always try to look at as FPL managers to try to see if there's enough motivation for our players. Now, of course, Arsenal, I said that they sort of conceded maybe the Premier League, but that doesn't mean they're gonna play their complete B team and not bother try to win games. But then same with Manchester City. Manchester City still need the top 5 to guarantee to be in there next season. So surely, if that makes sense, where Arsenal are definitely in Champions League, where they might even win it. So that move there, we'll come back on. I'm still indecisive there. There was one more option as well, actually, I should say, in the midfield position. It doesn't have to be the Palmer position, actually. It was another midfielder, and that was another Villa midfielder. Villa, very impressive recently. Excellent results. Even in Champions League, they were very unlucky against PSG. Now, I've got my favourite option from there, Rodgers, which I was happy I went for. He's been outstanding. Last 3 game weeks, Praz, he's returned in every one of them, and I've had him on the bench for every one of those as well. No jammy points there for me. He always, and now this is the big moment. He's going to get the double game week 33. So let's see how that goes. But his colleagues, his teammates, Rashford has caught the eye. Playing up front, not quite sure what's happening between him and Watkins, but it is quite scary. That one's another exciting pick. There's potential there for their double, but the minutes, I'm not sure what's happening. He started against PSG. Watkins didn't start. What is actually going on there?
So there's been a couple of important quotes from Emery, right? Quote number one is that Rashford is going to play up top. So they have tried playing him on the left, and Emery likes, for his work rate or whatever, that left doesn't work. And so up top is where he'll be. So now we're back to Duran and Watkins situation. When early season we were at Duran and Watkins situation, what did we do? We ignored them both.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like that's where we are again. Like, can you tell me that for the next 2 games, Watkins doesn't start even one? That would be quite surprising.
Yeah.
I know he's not started PSG. He didn't start Southampton. So it's not making sense. Either it's an injury or something is going on where Watkins isn't starting, but he should now start, right? So if he is starting, then you shouldn't expect Rashford to play on the left. So question to you is, if you're going for Rashford, are you expecting Watkins not to start even the one of the next 2? I don't know. If I have the answer, I could have obviously told you, yes, Rashford's a great pick. Rashford could be a decent pick regardless, right? Because he's on penalties. This is confirmed. This is the second important quote that Emery's made. And he will get decent minutes. Even if he doesn't start, he'll get 30, 40 minutes. He'll play. He'll get 60, 70 minutes. So you're looking at 100, 110 minutes from him over the double. It's not too bad. But all I'm saying is that's a word of caution that he's not going to get the same number of minutes as the Rodgers.
Yeah, totally agree. And I'm in agreement with you, Pras. It's just that I'm trying my best to look. I mean, it's the home stretch now. We've got 6 more game weeks. I am, obviously for the last, say, 8 game weeks, I've tried my best to take any opportunity if there is something a little bit different. A lot of our teams look like this, So I was very impressed with Rashford, but what you said there sums up what's going on in my mind. I'm not quite sure who's going to play. It's almost impossible to pick. And there's other options in that team who have impressed me. I like Asensio, Malan. There's quite a lot of Villa squad is looking really healthy at the moment, but that means it's more difficult for us to predict minutes. Yep. So that was the last potential option I was considering in midfield. Up top now, excuse me. Up top I was considering actually Isak to Watkins. I thought that was another potential option. Now, I'm not quite sure what the gains because of what you just said. Simple fact, the minutes. I was considering that. That would bring my team up. So if I use the free transfers and put in the free spots, Gabriel, Palmer, and Isak, that would have brought me up to 10 double game weekers, I think. I could take a -4 to bring me up to 11. I'm comfortable with that. I think we knew we're not. I remember you telling me actually we're not going to have 50 double game weekers weeks ago, and you're right. That's come to fruition. Right. So that's my thinking at the moment. The option you mentioned, actually, triple Arsenal defense. That's another. I did consider that. Okay. I can't think of any other moves. I've got the double City. I'm more than happy with. I wouldn't consider any of their other midfielders. Only KDB, and that's just because it's KDB, isn't it? The potential's always there with someone like him. There's Aston Villa. We've spoken about the midfield. I don't think an Aston Villa defender. What do you reckon, Pras, stands out for me? I mean, over an Arsenal defender.
Their fixtures aren't that great anyway for defense. So for attack, I can still understand. But these Newcastle and Man City are the same 2 fixtures that Crystal Palace just got battered on. 5 goals. Now, they were both away. At least Villa have one home game. And I think Villa are a better team than Crystal Palace on their day. Like, their Champions League, they gave PSG a game. So we need to respect Villa. Villa could get a result in either one of them. But a clean sheet is harder to see. Like, I went for Konza because he's cheap, right, on wildcard. But I wouldn't buy now. Like, I think for you can easily just go double Arsenal defense. The one option you could go Konza is if you went Palmer to Saka, Gabriel to Saliba, and Livramento to Konza. So that could be a potential option, because earlier people were looking at Bradley. Some people even went for Bradley last week. The problem with Bradley is now Trent is in training, right? So you will get 33 out of Bradley.
Yeah.
But very soon he'll become basically a dead spot. Now you may say, actually, so what? The season's coming to an end. I don't need my bench. Well, you might need your bench because game week 36 and 37 is complicated. We may see a couple of teams doubling in 36 and those teams blanking in 37, whoever reaches the FA Cup's final. So you might need your bench again. And if you have a dead weight, then that may mean that you have to take an extra hit. So this is why I feel like Bradley, you don't need to get. So if you were in that specific position, then Konza is okay.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, one of the options I looked at, I did play around with, and then I thought what you said, better off getting QPR superior defensive team. Aston Villa, frustratingly, even though we just said a minute ago they've been really good, they've been conceding goals. You know, maybe not by a high XG but they have been conceding goals. So clean sheets not looking, and Konsa attacking returns is quite rare. He did score in the Champions League though.
He scores, man. He's a good defender.
I was go on, Prez.
He scored for me already this season, and he scored in the Premier League a couple of weeks ago, and he scored yesterday. So he's not bad.
I was going to say, I better be careful what I say about Konza to you, because I know how you two go way back for
Konza.
anyone that watches the FPL Hire and Praz. But yeah, so that's the situation I'm in. Before this game week took place, I think I was actually very happy with the team. A little bit nervous now with, first of all, the Crystal Palace players. Very surprising. I mean, we had a double. Munoz, he got me -1, which is very impressive in a double. Eza was actually, I think I got the right pick there, but the outcome doesn't. But then Mateta's been managed with minutes. So first of all, not this last game, with the game week before, not last game, the first game in this double, he got taken off, and it was regarding performance. And then again, he got taken off this half. So that's quite worrying. I mean, we're not going to move them out. They've got a double game week. We've committed to this, but it's almost the second time it's happened pretty quick for me, Praz, where I've tripled up on a team. Everything looks like it's going perfectly, like I've done with Bournemouth just like maybe a month ago, and then their form drops, or the fixtures, whatever's happened, and now all of a sudden I'm a bit nervous with these with this triple Crystal Palace.
They're all first choice, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And you know, for people free hitting, coming out of the free hit also, like game week 35, they're home to Forest. Game week 37, they're home to Wolves. 36 is away to Spurs. Spurs is a good fixture for everyone. So I think it's fine, man. Like, I think keep your Palace guys. Don't panic. It's not ideal. I'm not saying it's ideal that, but look, Eze or Mateta are on penalties, but they were both unlucky because they were getting battered. It was 5-0, man. Like, of course he took them off. So if anything, you can basically think that had they played 90 minutes in a 5-0 loss, you would have thought, oh my God, they're going to miss one of the other two games. At least they're now rested. So they could now basically play both of the doubles. Otherwise, you would have thought maybe one of them misses out, like Nketiah starts one. They could still happen. That could still happen. But you just have to go with it. Like, I don't think Crystal Palace is a non-event. People are not buying them. If you wanted them, you already have them. So you just keep.
Yeah. They've got the FA Cup fixture as well, don't they?
They have it after the Arsenal game, which is why Saka is a little bit appealing. Like, even if Saka starts, let's say Saka gets 30 minutes of Ipswich and he gets 70 minutes of the Crystal Palace game, that's essentially that 70 minutes is against probably a rotated Crystal Palace team.
Yeah, that was going through my mind as well. I'm not also the minutes for our Crystal Palace players, but like we said, from our perspective, we're already committed to them. That information is more than likely whether you're about to jump on this week, you could potentially swerve them. The last couple of things to discuss. So that's my potential transfers. Some of them I think I'm confident. The midfield ones I'm still not sure. I want to talk to you about the bench, and the reason for that is, Praz, is because I'm going to be bench boosting. I think I tried to look through the rest of the season to see if there's any other permutations where I get a better bench, and it was very difficult to judge. First of all, we've got the unknown factor, injuries or what, you know, and also carrying maybe, I mean, this season with the expensive premium players being out of form or either injured, maybe leaving a healthy bench is not too much of an issue. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But the reason I say to you, I started to doubt it. So originally I had game week 33 to bench boost, but now I'm looking at the double Newcastle versus Villa. It's a difficult fixture. And when we look at we've got the table over here, Praz, this is what I want to show you is, it's looking not great for cleans or attacking returns. I mean, obviously you never know, it's just predicted data, but it's making me think, could I find an alternative? Could I get a better week to use my bench boost? Okay, so if I show you the rest of the team, just to finish off. So Areola against Southampton, that's perfect, hence why he's in our team. And then Milinkovic against Spurs. Spurs, you could argue as well, I've given up in the Prem and are fully committing to the Europa cause. But what do you think of a bench boost this week? Do you think I should look for another game week where I can, or do you think, no, commit to it and then I can?
I think you commit to it. Like, look, any Villa or Man City players you're buying this week, there's a chance that they also double in 36. So anyway, those transfers are helpful not just in 33 for the double for later, right? So if you're transferring your Livramento, let's say to okay, Kiwior is a bad example. Let's say Konza, or if you're doing Murphy to Rashford, then they will get at least 2 more games. And then you get Murphy back when you free hit in game week 34 when he's playing home to Ipswich, right? So there's a lot of sense in the particular strategy or the path that you're in, that you basically get bench boost out of the way this week. We've been lucky this week. There were no injuries. Look at your team. It's just the Gabriel injury that happened pretty much 5 minutes after wildcard. Apart from that, your team's been healthy. So now you could get terrible luck over 34, 35, 36, and then you're sitting in 36 saying, I need to bench boost. I've got 2 injured players. I need to get doublers. I can't, I just think it's not ideal. But I think a lot of people are feeling that, looking at their bench, saying it's not ideal because it's not a 15. I said this before. If only 4 teams double, the maximum number of doublers you can have is 12. To put out 15 bench players, you still need to have 3 single game weekers. Okay, one of them is Salah. You still need to have 2 other. So in no way, even if you were to make a free hit bench boost, you know what I mean? Like in 1 week, you can pick any 15 you want. Even then, you have to bench with 2 single game weekers. So it's okay to have 2 single game weeks like a Milankovic and an Isak and say, you know what, or an Areola and say, you know what, it's fine. Even if it's 3 bench players that are single game weekers and 1 is a double game weeker, not the end of the world. Don't fix it on the bench boost that much, in my opinion. There were people who didn't bench boost this week that scored 25 points because they had 8 Nouri on their bench. And there are people who bench boosted who scored 1 point. Sorry, Luke disabled to bring you up, but yeah, he scored 1 point. So that's just how it is.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I was just trying to. I just try to have a little look, but at the moment I'm in agreement. I just wanted your opinion. I'm in agreement. I think to attack it, you touched on earlier on regarding this potential complications for 36, 37, because I thought that might be a potential for us to hold it to around that week. You don't think that's a good idea?
I mean, it's because of the uncertainty. It's because you don't know who to buy now. You can't gear up for it, because if you go to the fixture chart, I'll just explain. So basically, whoever reaches the final of the FA Cup. So we know that there's 4 teams, right? There's Man City, there's Nottingham Forest, there's Aston Villa, there's Crystal Palace. So if Crystal Palace reach the FA Cup final, they could have a double. Their fixture in game week 37, because the FA Cup final is on the weekend of game week 37. So firstly, it's not guaranteed because the fixture could just move into the midweek of game week 37. But if they does move, then Crystal Palace could have a lovely, beautiful double of Tottenham away and Wolves at home in game week 36. Similarly, Man City could have Southampton away and Bournemouth at home as their double game week if they win. And they're heavy favorites to win against Nottingham Forest. Of course, Forest have beaten them, so nothing against them. But that's where we are. Villa, if they have it, they will have a double. Home to Spurs, lovely. Away to Bournemouth, not that easy, but it's still a double. This is why their attackers, you want their attackers to play Spurs. Maybe when Bournemouth is not too bad. It's better than having a defender. So if somebody is investing on a second Aston Villa, you're basically making a punt that they do all right this week. They win their FA Cup semi-final, and then they get a double game week in 36. Now, why can't you play it in a bench boost in 36? You could. I'm not saying you can't. But your wildcard was specifically built for 33. Even then, you're struggling with 3 free transfers. Now imagine coming out of 34, whenever you free hit, you've used up one transfer, right? You won't roll transfers. So you will come out of game week 35, out of 34 into game week 35 with 0 free transfers. So with 0 free transfers, it's going to be very hard if you get a couple of injuries to set up for 36 bench boost, but also attack 36. Because you could, if Forest win, you have no Forest players. Well, you do, Milankovic. But then you also need to get rid of like your Man City guys. Okay, they play Southampton. You could set it up, but I'm just saying you're taking a little bit of a leap of faith. Whereas now you know what you're getting into.
I totally agree with you, but I thought I'd ask the question. Someone else might be in a similar scenario. Now, before we finish my team and go on to yours, the one more thing I wanted to discuss with you, and others might have a similar scenario, is that do you think now taking a hit this week, and if you're bench boosting, it's worth it if it's a double get? So, for example, in my scenario, you can look at, this is my potential bench. Say my 3 transfers I used all on the starting 11 there, and I have this bench for double for my bench boost. Do you think it's worth taking a hit? Do you think so? To bring in, say, just say a Livramento to Konza or a Murphy to Rashford. I know we discussed the pros and cons, but just say, do you think it is worth it when you're bench boosting to fully go for it?
I mean, I'll say it another way. I'll say a hit isn't too bad if you're looking to get 2 games out of this player this week and possibly taking out a player that you don't need later. So if you're taking a hit to take out an injured Foden, an injured Gabriel, or a Murphy who you don't want to play for the rest of the season, or a Livramento, I don't think it's too bad. Now, Murphy's in the form of his life, right? So I could be wrong there. But there are picks where, look at Newcastle's fixtures. You don't want a Newcastle defender now for the foreseeable. If you're free hit 34, if you're getting them for Ipswich.
You say about the Newcastle, and I was considering it, but like you said, they've really turned it on recently.
But I'm saying it's okay to keep Isak. It's okay to keep Murphy if you really want to. But if you sell Isak or Murphy this week, you can get them back free hit 34. True. Away to Brighton, I don't want Livramento. Home to Chelsea, okay, they could do all right, but I don't necessarily want to play Livramento. Away to Arsenal, I definitely don't want to play Livramento. So I'm saying you can, if it needs a hit, to take Livramento out, improve your bench boost this week by having one other doubler, and then having the potential to have another doubler in 36 because, a Konza can play in 2 games. I'm saying it's not too bad if you did it. Like some people could go Ruben Diaz. You could get a doubler this week. You could get a doubler in 36. And you don't need to play him in 34 when he's blanking. And you can get your Trippier back on free hit 34. So that's what I'm talking about.
And it's a shame there isn't a more exciting Aston Villa like Dini, for example. If he was like locked in for me, I know, he's the ultimate. We know. Speaking of FPL trolls, he's the king. He is the number one master. But I think I've covered everything from my team. Thank you. There's one more thing, and that's captaincy. But I think I'm going to save it for your team. So let's move on to your team. We'll discuss captaincy together.
Okay, sure. So I have, our teams are not too different, to be honest. Like I have Raya, Gabriel, Munoz, Guardiola, who you have. I have Konza instead of your Milenkovic. Yeah. And then Palmer, Salah, I have Foden instead of Rodgers. Now, I wish I had Rodgers instead. So this is just one of those things. I chased the Leicester game. Yeah. It didn't work out. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Not every punt you take works out, right? And then Marmoush, Mateta. So basically the differences in our team are I have Foden and you have Rodgers. So I might need to deal with Foden in addition to everything else that you need to deal with. That's basically where we are. But having Konza gives me one double game weaker over your Milenkovic. So I don't know what Konza scores, but it's not too different. I also have 3 free transfers. So there's lots of routes. Some routes include hits. So let me walk you through it. So Gabriel needs to go. Palmer needs to go. And at least Murphy needs to go, or Livramento as well. So one of the Murphy or Livramento. So therefore, I'm definitely using 3 free transfers. I'm open even to a hit. So the most obvious one is Palmer to Saka, Murphy to Rodgers, and Gabriel to, I can't do Saliba, to Kivior. Okay. So basically, this would be the base case if Foden is fine. And by the way, City is the first game again. So if Foden is even in the squad, I'll just leave it. That's it. Yeah. I don't need to do anything else. If Foden is out, that's when it gets interesting. I could even go into -8 territory because then it's like fun territory. So I could do Palmer to Saka. I could do Murphy to Rodgers. I could do Foden to Rashford. I could do Gabriel to Saliba. And I can do Livramento to Ruben Diaz.
I've not heard you mention Pras. Sorry to interrupt you. I've not heard you mention KDB in that little permutation, because if you Foden went now,
I could
sound like you're interested.
This is the -8 version, right? I could do the same thing I did in my no hits version, which is basically Gabriel to Kivior, Palmer to Saka, Murphy to Rodgers, and Foden to KDB. I can do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I myself am not 100% sold unless Guardiola Pep comes and says something positive about KDB in terms of his pain, in terms of his minutes, in something where I get more than just, KDB looked great in the last game. Then I can consider it. But look, I'm not saying no. I think KDB is a good pick. I think for me, having Saka and KDB could be a differential, like not many teams can afford it. So that's the route that I could take. So basically what I'm trying to say is definitely one Arsenal defender comes in, whether that's Saliba or Kiwi or TBD. Definitely Saka comes in. I'm quite sure. Although actually I have a no Saka route as well. I'll talk about that in a second. Mm-hmm. Because what we haven't discussed is there's certain teams with a single game week this week are also good potential buys. So that route would basically look like Palmer to Bumo. Because if you go to the fixtures and you look at Brentford's fixtures, you see what's really good about Brentford. They play a home game this week. They're nice and good at home. Game week 34 is very difficult, away to Nottingham Forest. Well, I don't need him. I'll be on free hit. Game week 35, home to Man United. We all know how good that fixture is. Yeah. Away to Ipswich, game week 36, lovely fixture. Home to Fulham, game week 37, lovely fixture. Away to Wolves, lovely fixture. So you could get Bumo now, and then you're set. So that's the thinking. If I get, like Emma Jump the Wave basically does these predictors, right? If like under 30% people are predicting Saka to start, then I could just do, so now coming back to my team, I could do Palmer to Bumo. I could do Gabriel to Saliba. I could do Livramento to Kivior. So that's triple Arsenal defense.
Yep.
And I could do Murphy to Rogers or Rashford. Like I can afford anyone. So basically that would give me Bumo and a Villa mid. It would give me triple Arsenal defense. It would give me basically the things that I want. So I could do that as well. But for that, I would need to basically know that Saka is not likely to start. I don't know if the predictors are right or wrong, but at least I know that nobody's captaining him, right? If there's not a lot of conviction on him starting. But this is a left field idea where I avoid Saka. I don't think I want to do that because he's going to be highly owned. Some people will captain. I don't think it's a risk I want to take. And I love Saka as well. Like he's my favorite FPL midfielder. So most likely I will go down the path of Palmer to Saka. But I've not done anything. I've not touched my team. I've taken double price drops on Palmer. I've missed out on double price increases for Saliba, for Saka. Because you know what? At the end of the season, now it does not matter. Nobody remembers their team value from 2 seasons ago, from 1 season ago. And now, if you're you've been given a gift. Haaland is injured. Kivior, under 5 million Arsenal defender, is pretty much nailed, or as nailed as anyone else. Merino, an Arsenal midfielder, is like playing as many minutes as Saka up top. So there is no excuse to be early. In fact, I would say the only edge right now is on Friday. There's a spanner. Like, oh, this guy's injured, who somebody brought in. Could be Saka, could be Salah, could be like anyone. And you've held your transfers and you've been patient. That's the edge that's left. Pricing, chasing prices is not an edge anymore. We're at the end game.
I mean, you say this, Pras, but you're rich. Your team value is incredible. For someone like me who's a poor no, but I agree with you. I've done the same. I've not used my moves. Exactly what you said. It's the home stretch now, and it's for us to maximize the information and hopefully, like you said, gaining edge. So I'm with you on that 100%. So just to excuse me, just to confirm, you're using bench boost as well.
100%.
Is that definite? Yeah, you're locked in.
I mean, unless like on Friday there's 3 injuries.
Yeah,
and it's completely gone to toss. But I can't. Like, I don't think there's a possibility that I don't see myself playing the deck. Which, by the way, I have pressed since sharing the screenshot. I have pressed bench boost, and I would advise people, if you're listening, if you haven't pressed it, press it, because you can cancel it. Yeah. So you'd rather do it this way, where you press it and then you cancel it later, than actually forget to press it.
That's a good shout. I'm going to take that on, because there is loads of situations where we've seen managers think they've pressed the bench boost, and it's not exactly the most highlighted, the graphic, the way they put it together, bench boost.
Because there's blue box.
So like me, Praz, you've got loads of different permutations and you're going to wait for the last minute. I think we're very similar. Well, not just the team, similar sort of transfers. You sound much more locked in on Saka than KDB from your perspective, which makes sense. I'm the one who's.
So I have Foden as well, right? So this is why I'm slightly different to your position, where I don't really have a choice. I can't get straight Palmer to KDB. Like, I have to take Foden out as well.
Totally agree with you. Yeah. No, and hopefully you get some luck there. The Foden one's unfortunate, and can I be honest with you? That could easily happen to me with KDB. With Pep, we're not quite sure. He's wide players or some of these players this season, apart from just underperforming, the rotation has been ruthless. So how many people went in on Savinho and have been burnt? Exactly that. So it's very unfortunate. I know loads are transferring Savinho out this game week, and it's a double. So that tells you how frustrated they are. Now, to finish up on your team, and it's for both of us, is captaincy. We've not touched on that. Where you're at with captaincy?
I think it's easy. It's Mamush. Like, Saka would have given him a run if he was starting both games, and this could change, right? If on Friday, as a community, or maybe Arteta gives us a hint, or that he says he's going to start now, he's ready, he's fully 100% fit, maybe that changes. But as things stand, in terms of the information we have now, Saka is not starting both games, or even if he starts, he's getting 60-70 minutes. Mamush is clear. Like, he's got 2 games, he's going to start them, he's most likely on penalties. There's no reason not to back him.
Yes, I was hoping there's going to be a bit more of exciting debate there, but you are right. The sensible approach is to Marmoush. I was looking really hard. You know, as I said, last 8 weeks, I've been trying my best. KDB, if we had the confidence, or Saka, both. I prefer a captain in the midfielder, but that's not thing. Actually, there's another option, and it's a single game week, and that's Mohamed Salah. What do you think about that?
He's fine. He's fine. It's just a dart theory, right? I mean, who do you want from? Do you want 2 chances of getting lucky, or do you want 1 chance? Like, think about what Jacob Murphy did this week, right? So Salah can blank. Sometimes, you know, stuff happens and you blank. But when you're in a double game week, sometimes you get lucky. So it's a case of, if you want to definitely look, some people now, motivations are different. People are chasing somebody. You know that the guy ahead of you probably captains Marmoush, and you're 10 points behind. Go for it, man. Captain Salah, no problem. It's Leicester. Leicester, the worst team right now. So it's not a bad shot.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's another option I was looking at. As I said, I'm trying to find alternatives when possible. But at times, like this game week, I didn't go crazy. I went Isaac as well. Sometimes the obvious captain is the best captain. All right, I think we've covered the majority of your stuff. There's a couple of more things I wanted to discuss with you. So did you see the assistant manager swings, Pras? How brutal that was. It's such a powerful chip. And it's been around. We've seen quite a lot of instances of it. What do you think of this? This was quite harsh, wasn't it? The outcome.
I don't like this chip. I've said this the whole season. This is exactly right here in front of you. On paper, they had almost the same expected points.
Yep.
13. One got 10 more, one got 10 less, 11 less. It's just what it is. That's the chip. Like, how does, you know, suddenly Newcastle score 10 goals, or 9 goals in 1 game week, and the other guy basically ships 10 goals in the same game week. And in another week, Glasner just rocks up, beats Fulham and gets a 20-pointer. It's just a very swingy chip, and it's a very frustrating chip. So when it works for you, you like it because you think you're a genius. But in a lot of cases, it doesn't work. And unfortunately, I don't like the chip.
You're not a fan. So this will be interesting. As we know, Mark Suthers has gone to the new role within FPL. I'm not quite sure what his opinion. Does he hate the assistant manager? Does he like it? He might have a part to play whether this stays for next season. I'm not sure if you know any extra information there.
I have none. So
nothing. Yet, anyway. You sure? Yeah, you're just not sharing it with us.
No, I don't think even Mark knows right now.
No, but I just wanted to point that out. Unlucky for the ones who went Glasner, it was worth a try. Double game week. They were both table bonus. The potential there was, like, I mean, look at switch it like this. It could have been a 30, 40 pointer. Look how it's ended up. No one saw that battering. Now, to finish off, because I think we've covered everything already, to be honest, just to look at the projections, goals and clean sheets for this upcoming game week, to almost confirm all the stuff that we've discussed. So Arsenal, 44%. Clean sheet odds against Ipswich, that's lovely. Hence the triple up. I mean, I don't know about you. I always struggle. It's very rare I triple up on the defense. It's quite scary. I mean, you know how difficult that game is to watch, Pras, when you've got a triple defense.
It's lopsided, man. It's okay to finish the season a little bit lopsided. It's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, I feel it's not the end of the world. If you're tripling up on the best defense, which doesn't have a realistic attacker, it's not too bad. Like, I think it's fine. If people wanted to go down that route, it's not especially because if you're looking to go different. I think it's not too bad. Like 44% and 44% is fairly decent. Like over the 2 weeks.
Yeah,
or the 2 games.
I think you're right. And Liverpool, go on, Pras.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, we've covered Liverpool, like you said. So we've covered. Like, I don't think people are picking Diaz this week, but Bradley, whoever you have. He's not a buy, but I think that's decent. West Ham, we didn't cover. Home to Southampton. Bowen looks like a decent shout.
Yes.
I already talked about Brentford, but that's about it, man. Like, I don't have anything else to add on this.
I think you're right. There's not much more for us, and I'm more than happy we've covered everything. So hopefully, like you said, Pras, back to normal next week. Yeah.
Expecting 100 points minimum for our team after the 3 transfers.
You know what? I wish I had your enthusiasm. The way you're flying this season, you'd
100 points minimum more. When we'll pod next Thursday, you'll see.
I hope that rubs off on me. But listen, that is very good. Thank you very much. By the way, if you're still watching now, please make sure you like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. And on that note, we're going to wish you good luck and see you next week.